Rob, lead us off.
Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pinstripe Chronicles. It is a Monday morning, and we're certainly acting like it's a Monday morning as we are coming off of a Yankees series win over the Baltimore Orioles, 2-1. How are we all doing today? Good to
The
see
circles,
everybody.
as you'll see momentarily. There we go. We are back on screen. Rob, I know he was able to make it this morning despite all the debris from weekend's events.
This is bad. Right.
Apologies, everybody. We were having some technical difficulties there. Uncle Tats's internet seems to be on the fritz, but good morning to everybody once again. Good to see everybody in the chat. Donald, let's just skip all the pleasantries. Tats, you back with us?
Yep. I hopefully
Okay.
for the whole rest of the show.
Hopefully, yeah. We were getting invaded by aliens and mooses, apparently. So
I want to get to the whole issue.
Well, Rob was talking, man, so you don't need to jump over him. Why don't you log out, right? Log out of your computer, rejig it, and come back in. All right, bro? And we need to start afresh because this is a mess.
Right. Let's talk about baseball,
Holy
ladies
shit.
and gentlemen. Again, apologies for the late start. Apologies for these technical difficulties. It's Monday. What can we say? Donald, let's just get right into it. How are we feeling about this series against the Orioles?
Well, I mean, Jazz Chisholm is the major takeaway, as well as the no hitter attempt from Clark Schmidt. By the way, how good is Clark Schmidt right now? Fantastic. So it was a clutch comeback from Jazz Chisholm, taking that 3-0 pitch and lining it off the wall. That was a big moment. I thought Ben Rice had a good series. And shout out to Goldschmidt for running from first with 2 outs at 37 years old, like he was Usain Bolt, and he just flew around those bases and scored the winning run. So, like, that was pretty cool too. So, yeah, there was some good moments. It started off really shaky, but then, as I say, man, it really Clark Schmidt set the tone for the series with the no hitter attempt.
I mean, yeah, just you think about that kind of a start and the kind of run he's been on. I saw a stat that since last year, him and Scooble have the lowest ERAs in the American League. So it's pretty impressive what he's been able to do out there, because we always saw him as like a guy that's going to give you 5-6 innings. He'll give up 3 runs or less, and you're going to live with that because that's a good start. But now his last few starts, he's been absolutely incredible. To go 7 no-hit innings against a good Orioles team. I know their record isn't great this year, but they still got some guys that can beat us up at any given moment. So to see him shut them down was very impressive. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, this guy is pitching out of his mind right now. And he's gone on some of these runs the last few years, and you see the flashes of it, and he's consistent. And that's the best thing, is when he goes out there, you know what you're getting, and it's usually that 5-6, and he's going to keep you in a ball game, getting you a chance to win every single game. I said mixed game and day at the same time, every single day. So now you get a really good starter, and he's been more than a number 3, because we were kind of asking him to be a number 3, and he's pitching like a number 2 right now. So you got to you got to give him a lot of credit for that.
Dude, he was basically like no hit stuff his previous outing, and he's continued it into an actual no hit stuff this outing. So it's amazing. This guy is pitching kind of like a chip with a chip on his shoulder. I don't know what it is, but he's a different guy this year. He's a different guy this year.
And we needed it, because especially now with, we know Cole's hurt, we know Heal's out, Yarborough just went on the IL. Hopefully it's not too long of a stint, and a potential return of Marcus Stroman. we need the top three in this rotation to be really good, and also give some credit if we're going to keep on the pitching side. So Will Warren, a rough start yesterday, but then bounced back to give us some really quality innings after that. I thought his breaking stuff was not moving at all in that first inning. The fastball was a little flat early on, but that got together late in the game as well. And that breaking stuff was just moving, and that was a really good bounce back from him, because that could have been a game that derailed him very quickly. He got out of it with minimal damage, just the 2 runs. It kept us in the game, and the offense was able to make that late comeback courtesy of guys like Jazz and Goldschmidt, some good base running, and a little bit of luck that went our way. So, the pitching in general.
What about Warren's sweeper? What about Warren's sweeper to strike out Gary Sanchez? I had like an 18-inch vertical drop or something like that.
That's his best pitch. That truly is his best pitch, and it's been getting better and better since the spring.
It was incredible, and when he struck Sanchez out, I was like, okay, this is I've just got to check. It was an 86-mile-an-hour sweeper, 22 inches of horizontal break, 22 inches of horizontal break. That's insane.
It's filthy.
No, when his stuff is on, it is on, and hopefully I'm on for a little while as I was dealing with some technical difficulties. The pitching was, once again, the pitching really wasn't the problem. Schmidt was great. He was beyond great. He was phenomenal. But I think Warren, he was the one that stood out because of the way that they ambushed him in the first inning, and he was able to, like you guys were alluding to, was able to still give you a quality start. And figured out how to get his pitches to work. I think that's what really says the most about where Warren is at this point of his rookie campaign.
Yeah, it's his sweeper is by far his best pitch.
Yeah,
that's something that he needs to emphasize a lot. That's a crazy amount of break, man. 22 inches. Made Gary Sanchez look bad.
Gary Sanchez showed himself again multiple times yesterday. That strikeout and the drop at the plate, and I was like, that's why he was gone. So, it was interesting because he was blocking a few, and I was like, oh, now he wants to block a few pitches, but and then he made that play at the end. I was like, okay, there it is. There's old Gary. That's the one that we remember. But let's say good morning to the people in the chat, because we've got a good crew out here today on this Monday. Doran is saying no Clark in that trade package, as Acevedo says. Best time to trade Clark, Hess, Rumfield, and Peraza for Suarez and Gallen. I don't see the Yankees trading Clark Schmidt for a couple of rentals. They'd have to give up a pretty penny for Suarez and Gallen, and it might include Clark Schmidt. I don't think you move Clark Schmidt right now, especially with all the question marks in the rotation with injuries. Let's say good morning to Cold Italian Pizza. Gabagool, good to see you. FJ's here. Jacob's here. Morning, fam. Good to see you. Dev Finch, as usual. Ken Claus is here. We've got John the Beagle Dad, Stevie B, and Jonathan at 8:09. He was not the early bird, though, because that belongs to Dev once again. 3:35. My guy, get some sleep.
Yeah, Acevedo's trade is interesting because those are two guys that would really improve this roster. But that trade is gonna kill the team. You would have to move a piece that's probably somebody that's already a heavy contributor, or somebody that we're waiting, that's really close to being in the woodwork of coming up. That might cost you, like a Rodriguez or somebody. It's going to be a heavy price for both Suarez and Gallen. Maybe for one of those guys, you could get a little creative, but like we've been alluding to, we're going to get more into trade propositions and situations as it gets closer to the deadline. We will have a kind of like a pre-trade deadline show of what we would like to see moved for the Yankees and who we think players might be moved to other teams, which teams are going to be breaking down, because it's still just a little too far away, and some teams are getting back into the mix. So it's going to be interesting as we get closer to the trade deadline. So we'll worry about that later on.
Dude, I don't want IKF. I've heard too many rumors of
I've
IKF.
seen that. I don't like that at all.
God, I can't. I can't do it. I can't do another thing of IKF. No.
And I
He's
like
such a lateral
IKF.
move.
He's a good player. I just don't think he fits the team right now. He doesn't fit anymore.
No, he doesn't. The Yankees need some power. I know they have plenty of it, but a guy like Suarez is what they need.
Yeah.
A healthy Moncada would be a better fit than IKF. I don't know if Moncada is going to be back by the deadline. Hopefully he is, because the Angels should move him. But Suarez is the guy that makes the most sense. In fact, he's one of the few guys that they can actually go trade for, because if Tampa Bay wasn't winning, I would say go get Brandon Lau, but Tampa Bay keeps winning, so they're right there in the thick of a playoff race. So there really are limited options. We have to hope that Arizona starts losing some games, but they're still hanging around. So because of that offense, they need some pitching. So maybe if their offense is still killing it, do they go strength for strength? I don't know, but IKF, no, absolutely not. He doesn't improve the team by any stretch. It's a better defender than probably what we have at third and Jazz, and it can get Jazz back to second, but that's it. Because he's a mediocre bat, so you want him and Volpe on the left side of the infield struggling offensively.
No. You're just trying to hurt me now. You're just trying to hurt me now.
I'm saying I don't want that.
No, like I said, it's nothing against his play. I just don't think he fits this roster at this point. That chapter's closed. So I really don't want to spend too much time on the IKF talk.
No, but it screams like a Brian Cashman move, because
it really does.
You know it's cheap as shit. You can get him for cheap. You can probably just get rid of him for some like Rule 5 guys that's gonna go on the Rule 5. So you can just probably get rid of them.
Yeah.
Bring in IKF, and they can bring back the experiment, because they've doubled and trebled and quadrupled down on IKF while he was here. So they would love to have him back. I know it. It's an absolute Cashman move. Cheap, and he's a good, he's a very good locker room guy. But oh my God, please no. We need some power from the right side. Stop. Holy God, no.
And we'll close it out. Close the IKF talk with this from Ken Claus, who re-upped his membership for those 7 months. Thank you, Ken. IKF for the win. Seriously, he doesn't hit the mark. Exactly. That chapter's done. So I do want to get into before I had the technical difficulty leading in with the decision from Boone to not put Clark Schmidt out for the 8th inning, which really sparked a debate online amongst outside fan bases and Yankee circles alike. Should Clark have come out for the 8th inning at 103 pitches? My take is one talking point I heard that I actually did agree with, of why Boone made a mistake, was not letting him get the tip of the cap from and the applause from the crowd. I think that was a serious miss from Boone to give him his moment to kind of put his cap up as he got a standing O for his efforts from the game. I do agree with not sending him out though. I think that it was the right move in the right situation. At 103 pitches, unless you're going to go batter by batter and do a situation like that, it's the middle of July, and I believe Rob had shared the same sentiment. How many more pitches were you going to throw him before you risked another injury? And I think they made that decision because they already knew that Yarbrough was coming on the IL. So it turned into all right, we can't risk another pitcher going down because who would really take that spot? Guys, what was your take? We'll go Rob.
I didn't mind it. I know people wanted to see it. I wanted to see it. Trust me, a no-hitter is an awesome experience, but you got to think about I know people don't want to hear it, but you do have to think about big picture. We're already down Cole. We're down Heel for another month or so, and we don't know what capacity he's going to be pitching in. Will Warren hasn't necessarily been the model of consistency. Marcus Stroman is, and outside of Rodon and Fried, the pitching is a little bit suspect because now, like you said, they probably knew Yarbrough was going to have to go on the IL. So at 103 pitches in the heat, I don't really mind it. I know it would have been cool to see him get the tip of the cap. It would have been cool to see him go after the no hitter. But if we found out in like a week that those extra 30 plus pitches ended up hurting his arm a little bit or he was a little extra sore after the start, we'd be saying, why didn't you take him out? Why didn't you take him out? I don't think that no hitters are overrated, Spence, especially in today's game because it's so difficult to do what he was doing out there. I don't think it was a big deal. Although I do understand why people would be a bit upset because you're trying to witness history. And Donald, obviously, he's been at a perfect game before, so he knows what it's like to be there live and see it. But I want to think about bigger picture. Clark Schmidt, the way he's pitching right now, he's far too important to this team to risk an extra 30 plus pitches and potentially have him go on the IL for a week or so, even a couple of weeks. You don't want to take that risk. So I don't really think it was that big of a deal.
Yeah, and I want to get Donald's take too because, like you said, he has witnessed a perfect game in person. It's also, this isn't a seasoned veteran that's used to that high of a pitch count. So, I think that also was a factor. And as much as I like to crap on the analytics, I think that they, like you said, like the word you use, Rob, long term. I think they were looking at big picture. So I think that it was a damned if you did, damned if you don't type of situation. But with a 9-run lead, I kind of was it 8-0 at that point still. We had the game in hand at that point with a rested bullpen. And they wanted to get a spot where it was a little more comfortable for Brubaker. Unfortunately, because of a missed check swing, that hit was given up in the next pitch. Let's not take that out of the equation, too, because they could have just kept going. Donald, your takes.
My biggest issue was not necessarily taking Schmidt out after 7. It was actually going with Brubaker, who hadn't pitched in like 2022. I think that was the stupidest decision. You have an opportunity to have a no-hitter. You should try and look to get the combined no-hitter. So you should have used a better arm that he trusted in order, because it was a slap in the face to Clark Schmidt, who just gave you a 7-inning no-hitter. It would have been really cool if you got that opportunity with a higher leverage arm. My biggest issue was going with Brubaker. I thought that was a tone-deaf move from Aaron Boone. I didn't like it, and I was angry about it. I was really mad at it when I saw that Brubaker was warming up. I was like, you're not putting him in a no-hitter. This guy hasn't pitched in years. Now he has to take the responsibility of losing a no-hitter in his in his first batter. And that's unfair on him because he was fine when he came out. He was fine when he pitched, but that's an unfair situation for him to come in. A no-hitter? Are you kidding me? He hasn't pitched in years, and he's walked into a no-hitter situation. So, and all the fans booing, and it was all for Aaron Boone, but he'd still feel pretty bad about it. And I think that was an unfair situation to put him in. They should have gone with a high leverage arm. I'm not necessarily saying Williams, but you probably could have gone with a Cruz or Weisiger or whatever, just someone that you've used before. It was an opportunity for history. Now, do I really care about combined no hitters? No, but it would have been pretty fucking cool for the fans in the stands. I don't really care about a combined no hitter, but I still think it's the manager's responsibility to try and do his best to get that done. So what I would have done with Schmidt, 103 pitches, 7 innings. I mean, I don't hate the fact he took him out, but I would have gone batter by batter. If it was a very quick first out, then keep him in for the second out in the 8th inning. If it's not, if he works a deep count, regardless of if he got the out or not, then you give him the opportunity to give a tip of the cap to to the crowd in the stands and the audience. I probably would have gone batter by batter in the 8th inning, in order to. It's not going to blow his arm out. Another 5 or 6 pitches isn't going to blow his arm out. Just to maybe get the opportunity to see if he can get another 1 or 2 outs. But certainly get an opportunity to get the appreciation from the fans. And I mean, to be fair, there wasn't much of an atmosphere. You could kind of tell. I don't even think anybody realized it was a no-hitter until they got off their phones in the 6th inning. Right? But still, it's, yeah. So obviously from someone that's been to a perfect game, I don't think that this would be even remotely like in the same category, because it would have been a combined no-hitter rather than a no-hitter. And it's not even a perfect game, so it's not really the same thing. So, I mean, I'm not, in hindsight, after a couple of days sleep, I'm not going to kill Aaron Boone for it. But do I think that he probably should have gone with a better arm in order to still try and see that history through, at least for the fans, man, because it's a pretty historic moment. It would have been really cool. So. I think that was a misstep. I think the Brubaker was the biggest misstep, rather than taking Schmidt out. But I can kind of understand taking Schmidt out. But I would love to see him get an opportunity, because it was kind of cool. I was getting kind of excited. I was like, holy shit, this could happen. And then, oh, he's out. Oh, Brubaker was off. For God's sake, Aaron fucking bit again. He's done it again. It's just a bad look. I think it was just a bad look. But it is also a no-win situation for Aaron Boone as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can see it. No, Duran, I'm not saying anything about Brubaker. I'm saying that he was pitched fine, but it was a very
not that situation.
Man, it was a no-hitter he was coming into. So if he gives up a hit, then he's going to face the animosity from the fans, even if it was aimed at Aaron Boone. He's still going to face it. He's still going to feel bad about it, and he's not even pitched in years. So I think that was an unfair situation on the guy. So you probably want to go with a higher leverage arm to try and see it through for Schmidt and for the fans and for history in itself. I think he probably had that responsibility, Aaron Boone. He didn't take it.
Yeah, normally the argument would be, why are you going to put in your low leverage guys and in line, in a no hitter, but the score, there were just so many different factions that were coming in and decisions to make. I like you were saying, and we've said, I don't think there was a correct move for Boone in that situation. I really don't think. I think no matter what he did, there was going to be some shade thrown his way about it. He couldn't win in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. Now, maybe if you think about it, you go to Loizaga in the 8th, and if the hit's given up, then you can bring in Brubaker in the 9th, and no one would really bat an eye about it. But I think you need to get him run. So knowing that Schmidt wasn't going to pitch in the 8th inning, and if a combined no-hitter really isn't as impressive as a regular no-hitter by one guy, I don't see the harm in bringing in Brubaker, because, I know he hasn't pitched in a long time, and the situation was a bit unfair because the boos are raining down on him, and it wasn't directed towards him, but it seemed like it was. That idiot from WFAN screaming his ass off in his backyard about Boone's decision-making. Brubaker did nothing wrong. He gave up 1 hit. He pitched 2 innings. It's the first time he's pitched in a while. We gave up a good prospect to get him. This is a guy that could hopefully save our bullpen a little bit, giving us multiple innings, a guy that can throw potentially 3-4 innings if we need it out of the bullpen. He's a former starter. So I think it was the best time you can probably think of to get him run in a 9-0 game. It's just the fact that it was a no-hitter. You're like, oh, what if he does give up a hit? And then it's going to seem like it's all his fault, but it really wasn't. The guy, he pitched fine. I understand the frustration, but I think really there's no other situation that you can think of besides a 9-0 game that would be like, okay, let's get this guy some run now. Let's give him a couple of innings so he can actually pitch for the first time in years. Considering we traded for him last year and we haven't seen him until now. Had it been 3-0 and he had to take Schmidt out, then yeah, obviously you have to go to like Loizaga or Weaver, something like that. But 9-0, combined no-hitter or not, I didn't really see the big deal about it. And I'm glad that the conversation kind of blew over because I do think it was a little blown out of proportion the way people were talking about it. Again, had Schmidt been an 80 pitches and they took him out, then yeah, we have a conversation.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
what are you doing? But he was at 103. We know nowadays guys don't like to go past a certain amount, like 110. And like you said earlier, Schmidt is not really used to going this deep into a ball game. So I don't want to take any risks, especially with a guy that's pitching as well as he is.
Yeah, like a Cole, Fried, Rodon, those guys, they're back out there in the eighth. Guaranteed. You know, guys early in their careers, not so much, especially nowadays where, you know, they go 7 and they're taken out, or they go 6 and they're taken out, you know, because of all the restrictions and analytical situations that come into play. Like it was, you know, like I said, it was just one of those. It was a no-win situation for everybody involved. The pitcher, the manager, the team, the fans. Nobody was going to be 100% on board with whatever may have happened.
It's fair, but it's still a no-hitter. It's still an opportunity of history.
Yeah.
So it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Clark Schmidt. You might not get that opportunity again. 9 times out of 10, he won't. So I still think the manager has that responsibility to try and, if you're not going to use him for the full 9, to go with a better quality arm to see if you can get it. Because that would be a great moment for Schmidt. That you might not get that opportunity again. I still think batter by batter in the 8th inning. I don't know like what the downside would have been to that. Plus, you can't predict injuries with pitchers. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pitchers can pitch throw 110 every single 5 days and not get hurt, and then you get somebody who throws like 3 pitches get hurt. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you can't predict these things.
Yeah, that's true. John the Beagle Dad saying, I'm indifferent because we don't know what's going through Boone's head. I don't think Boone knows what's going on.
Boone doesn't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to give Aaron Boone a little too much credit there. Did the Yankees win? So what happened? The Yankees won. You answered your own question, Dad. It was a good spot to bring in Brubaker. I agree with Spence, but I also agree with Donald's take that it was a kind of a rough situation for him because had he given up a hit, it seems like all the boos are raining down on him, but it was more so the decision.
Yeah, I think maybe if you went with like a lighter junior, you know, we may have looked at it just, you know, slightly different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we do also have an award segment coming up shortly. But before, I do want to get into a little bit of last night's game or yesterday morning's game. It wasn't even last night. Yesterday morning, having breakfast, watching baseball. Not too much on the in-play stuff because I'm sure we're gonna pick apart some of that through the awards, and to avoid being repetitive. What was your opinion on the start time? Because I know that was also another thing. I actually don't mind it, you know, but only because I was at work and we have the Roku TV, so I was actually able to watch the game on a Sunday at work, so that was a treat for me. So I was all for it, but I know 11:30 for a start, that could be a little rough for most people. What do you guys think?
I don't think it's a weird start time for baseball.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's only one time where it's like excusable that you have an early game, and that's when the Red Sox play on Patriots Day. There's a day where Boston, they always play at like 12 o'clock. This reminds me of when the NFL first started going overseas and they were playing at like 9 in the morning.
Yeah,
It's just weird.
I was going to bring up that comparison.
Yeah, I don't really like it. I also didn't hate it. I hated the broadcast more than I hated the start time because they did another in-game interview, and during the injury, that was brutal. And we're gonna get to that later on, I'm sure, because that's coming up in the awards. But yeah, that in-game interview while the poor catcher's like got his brain rattled thanks to that awkward play. And they're just like, so Gunnar, have you ever seen anything like this before? And he's like, dude, my teammate is like on the ground right now. They're just talking to him. I thought the in-game interview and the broadcast in general was iffy because I think Showalter brought a lot of great insight. I love Matty V as a play-by-play guy. And the broadcast itself, like the announcers weren't bad. It's just like those in-game interviews are the worst.
Oh, so cringe.
Yeah, I actually liked.
It was like something from The Office. It was something like from The Office. It was that level of cringe.
Yep.
Plus, it's a shortstop. You have to be locked in at all times. It's not like an outfielder where you could probably kind of afford just to like chill. But a shortstop, you can't chill. You're the fucking commander of the infield. So asking him questions, and he couldn't answer them because he was fucking busy. What ridiculous. Anyway, we'll get into it later.
Yeah, and then it is his earpiece wasn't working. I keep fixing that. While he's trying to, like what's you have the shortstop. What's next? The catcher? It's if they're going to do leave it for a guy that's playing the outfield.
Just don't do it at all.
I don't like it at all.
Let the guys play.
Do it.
You imagine they did that in football, like an offensive lineman's trying to freaking guard Aaron Donald in his prime, and he's like, "Sorry guys, real quick, I gotta make sure Aaron Donald doesn't kill me." It's so stupid. I think it's good for like spring training and the All-Star game because those don't matter. Like those are the perfect time to do it. But in game in the middle of June, the Orioles are on a hot streak and they're trying to win 2 out of 3 against the Yankees in the Bronx and maybe put themselves back into the playoff conversation. And you're interviewing one of their best players, and then you get that little moment where Jackson Holiday, you can overhear him talking to DJ. He's like, "So where are you guys going after this?" And DJ's like, Cincinnati. And it's just like
that was so funny.
That was probably the best part of it, but I don't think they knew that Gunnar Henderson's mic'd up. I think it's ridiculous. Let the players play, talk to them in between innings or after the game, but during the game just makes no sense.
Yeah, I thought it was just poor taste, especially with the injury. The feed should have been, the interview should have just been cut from that point. Especially, it's his own teammate. And then he's trying to make sure his teammate's okay, and worrying about him. Meanwhile, he also has to listen for what stupid questions are coming next. It's useless. It doesn't really serve a purpose other than them wanting to do something different. Meanwhile, every network is doing it now. It's different when it was, when they had it with, I think the first ones to do it was Prime, or was it Apple? One of those, it was
ESPN years ago they were doing it, and it's been bad ever since. It's always ESPN.
Well, it's getting out of hand now.
That was ridiculous. I don't think that you should have any major sporting event start before noon. I think noon is a perfectly good time. If you want to start early, start at noon. But 11:30 is such a weird time. It's just so, unless it's the Olympics, there's really no need to have anything start like pre-noon. I mean, you can't really use the NFL as an excuse because it's a different time zone. So yeah, of course, the UK is 5 hours later. So yeah, that you can understand. But if it's being played in the East Coast, there's absolutely zero reason to start pre-noon unless it's like a freaking event. If it's like the World Cup, the World Baseball Cup, or whatever fucking cup. But an actual Major League Baseball game should never start before noon. That's just obscene.
Yeah, like Rob said, leave it for spring training or like the All-Star game. If you want to have a different player mic each inning, I'm okay with that. Because there's no risk of the result. It's not like they're playing for the the World Series anymore. But they got to stop with the mics. It's got to stop.
That's not what I was talking about. Cool.
No, I just want to throw my last point in there.
Oh, right, okay. This threw me off. Anyway, go on.
All right, let's get to the awards. If you do or you are enjoying the show and all the chaos and confusion like I am, just make sure you hit that sub button if you want to join the chat and put your vote in as we go through these awards. It's very simple. It's very free. Hit that sub button. Also, if you like, hit that like button and share this out. So let's get to the awards.
MVP's Jazz Chisholm. Next, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, it can't go with anybody else. Jazz
I
takes
had
it.
Jazz. Yep.
That's nice and quick. And the chat, you're all wrong if it's not Jazz Chisholm. Right, low-key MVP, Rob.
I went with Ben Rice. I think he had a really good series, and he's starting to finally get some hits. Anyone that was doubting him because of his slump, they don't realize that he was getting incredibly unlucky. This dude was smoking the ball every time he was at the plate, and he just kept finding the glove. And eventually you knew that was going to stop, and it seems to have finally stopped. He had a really good series.
Totally agree, and that's my pick as well. Ben Rice.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we're all in lockstep so far.
Ben Rice. Excellent. Clark Schmidt says Ken. That's pretty fair, to be fair. Let's go with the Clutch Award. It's nice and easy for me, bro. Jazz Chisholm. Rob.
Jazz Chisholm.
This is where I had Warren. I thought after a rocky first inning, I thought the way he was able to kind of figure himself out and really lock down his outing, I thought that showed a little bit of moxie on his part, not completely imploding. If he did not figure it out as quickly as he did, it could have been a completely different inning, completely different outcome of the game.
Well, we still would have lost had Jazz Chisholm not come up, though.
No, I'm not discounting you guys at all.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the definition of clutch. So, as all, credit to Will Warren and all that stuff, but we still would have lost the game and Jazz Chisholm not coming and absolutely smacked a 3-0 pitch, which he got the go-ahead to swing at. And mashed it off the wall. If he didn't do that, we lose. So,
yep.
I am not discounting what Jazz did. That will come up later on.
So it looks like Ken is saying Jazz. Stevie B is saying Jazz. In fact, he's going Jazz, 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 Jazz. So nice and easy. We'll go with the pitching awards. Clark Schmidt next.
Yep.
Right? Any argument?
Nope.
Rob? Rob's just staring menacingly.
Nope.
Oh, I think his computer cut out. So
we know you would take Schmidt.
Clark Schmidt across the board. This is really funny though, because you still got the image of Rob just staring menacingly at the screen. It looks like Rob's trying to get himself back together. Yeah. It looks like his computer is on the fritz. This is some Monday, by the way. I'm the only one, knock on wood, that's behaving himself.
Let's get through this, and then we'll say that when we're backstage again.
The Rob death stare. That's right. So we're all universals. Clark Schmidt, that pitch no hitter. Let's move on. Let's go with Aaron Boone. Let's start with Ty. Ooh, Rob's back.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on. I got to get a new computer, guys. That's all I know. This thing's pissing me off.
Yeah, Boone, he got a 3 out of 10. I didn't think he did anything special. All the controversy around his decisions, it was unnecessary noise his way. Like I said, I know he was in a no-win situation, but I didn't think he did anything crazy. The scheduled off days, right as people were having like a 3-hit day and then they're sitting the next. I think that was just poor timing from him, not to change his tactics. So that took away some points for him.
So what I love is that we're having to make Aaron Boone earn his points now, because we were giving him
no more freebies.
Now we're like no. After your bullshit that you've pulled over this last month, you have to earn our trust. So I like that, and that's a very good rating. Rob, what would you give him?
Yeah, I went with a 4. I can't give him any higher grades right now. He's been so bad the last like month. So plus his answers, I don't know, man. Just 4's generous.
I think it is very generous. I'm gonna give him a 1 out of 10. I think the one that I'll give him is for having Goldschmidt pinch run. That was a smart move.
That was a good decision.
That was a good decision. But I don't think I understand quite his reasoning with Big G. I know you have to be careful with Big G to an extent, but he's been missing a lot of games. He's been, he's missed like half the game since he's come back. And he started off hot. And then, of course, because the analytics tell you hot doesn't exist, they've been sitting him a lot. And he had 3 strikeouts to start yesterday. I don't think it's helping him to bench him for 2, bring him in, bench him, bring him, bench him. I don't think that helps him. I think you need to get him. I think the way that you actually get his longevity is to give him a run of games. Give him 5 starts in a row, a DH, then give him a day off. But this whole in, out, I ain't helping nobody. It's certainly not helping us. So that's another Aaron Boone thing. And I also think that he didn't care about the occasion of a no-hitter, and I still think it's his responsibility to do that. It's not as obviously it was smart to make sure that Clark Schmidt was healthy. So I don't hate the idea that he didn't come back out, but I still think he had the responsibility to bring in a higher leverage arm to protect the no-hitter for the fans, if anything.
Yeah.
And for Clark Schmidt. So I think 1 out of 10 is generous. Let's get to the next award. We will go with You're My Boy Blue. Where is it? Where is my boy? There it is. You're my boy Blue. You're my boy. You are my boy Blue. I am actually going to give it to Ben Rice. Ben Rice is my boy. Ben Rice is my boy right now. I love that he's doing whatever it takes to be on the field for the Yankees, whether it's a catcher, whether it's first, whether it's whatever it takes, and he's still raking, and he's still doing a great job. And he raked in the second game of the series. So I think Ben Rice is my boy right now. Absolutely love that kid. Rob.
I'm bringing him back for the first time in a while. A good old friend, Gary Sanchez, gets my boy Blue.
The legend of the bobblehead.
Because he once again helps out this time he actually helped out the Yankees, but before he used to always cost the Yankees games with his drops and his mishaps behind the plate. But this time he helped the Yankees win by mishandling a play at the plate. Thank you, Gary. Still love you. The bobblehead's still here. It ain't going anywhere. But thank you for helping us win that game. You're my boy, Gary. You're always going to be my boy.
Yeah, because he started off the first game. He was great for the Orioles, and then this game he was great for the Yankees. So
he told us I'll give you 1 game. He goes, but then that's all I'm going to be able to give you.
to him, Uncle T.
This is where I have Jazz. I think Jazz, the clutch is nice, but when you're at that point where it's like, all right, you're my boy, it's because he had his boy Warren's back to make sure that he wasn't going to take the L on that game, and gave him an opportunity and the chance to figure his stuff out. And that is a team play. I mean, he grinded out. I thought, the slide, being able to, to score on that play. His defense was pretty good too during the series. But I think he also his bat was there. And then yesterday it really all came to fruition where it seemed like he was a one-man wrecking crew. So I thought that to secure a series win for the Yankees, that's where Jazz just had all his boys' backs.
Elliot wants 8 out of 10 for Aaron Boone. That's are
very
you related
generous.
to him? There's the only way you can give him 8 out of 10. You must be related to him. And let's get into the next one. It's the L, isn't it? I'm not missing anything else. Right, we're in the L now. Right, Rob, who gets your L?
Roku. We talked about it earlier. I mean, I forgot his name, but the poor catcher for the Orioles is like writhing in pain. He gets kneed. Jazz tries his best to avoid him, but he can't. It was just one of the wonkiest plays, and of course it's 11:30 in the morning, so you expect it. And they're like, "How great is this?" Only in a game like this can you hear DJ LeMahieu a veteran forgetting where his team has to play. This dude is trying to not be injured for like a week at least. The guy's poor head's probably just the brain just rattling in there because he got rocked. It's 11:30. He should be sitting at home watching SpongeBob eating cereal or something. Instead, he's got to be getting decked in the head by Jazz Chisholm. And now these announcers are saying how great it is that DJ LeMahieu has to think about where they play next. I mean, Jesus Christ. Stop with the in-game interviews. Just stop the interview short after that injury like you said earlier, Tats. That was bad. Everything else about the broadcast I was fine with. But that part, I was just like, dude, just stop. Just turn off his mic. So why are they continuing to have the mic play?
That was so bad. Tats.
I have the L going to Wells. I thought of our 3 catchers, I thought he was the one that was the least impactful. Even though with the off days, the opportunities when you get them, you got to capitalize on it. Because Rice and Escara were playing like they wanted, like they were auditioning to never, not call a game again. I just want to see more from Wells. I think he's been very underwhelming. And he was a guy I was very high on going into the season, as you guys know. So when he's nowhere to be found, he's going to be called out.
We all predicted him to make the All-Star team.
I did.
So
yep.
It sucks that he's not had the kind of year that we were all hoping for. I'm just looking because obviously we lost game 1. But it felt like a week ago. So like 5-3 we lost. Okay. What was the reason why we lost again? I can't even remember that game. Let's see here. Trent Grisham
Weaver gave up a couple of runs in I think it was the 8th.
Yeah,
that's right.
Return.
That's right.
I want to bring him up because
it's right. It was Luke Weaver. He had a rough one. But I can't really give him the L because I loved what he said afterwards. He says, my heart hurts. So he was really upset about it. So I can't hate that. I can't hate that. I mean, Anthony Volpe, I would have loved to have given him the L, but he came through the second game, so I can't really kill him, even though he was awful in game 1. Yeah, maybe Tats is right about Austin Wells. I'm not really seeing – I don't think there's anyone else. Aaron Judge was great until yesterday, so I'll give him the pass. So I think you're probably right. I'll probably give it to Austin Wells, man. I had to go do a process of elimination because it felt like that game felt like a week ago. Let's go with the Aaron Hicks Award. You know it. Everybody knows it. Aaron Hicks. There he is. There's that clown. Okay. Uncle Tats, who's your Aaron Hicks?
This is where I have the in-game interviews. It's got to stop. It's out of control, like I said. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's I don't care what network it is, who you're interviewing, what position you're interviewing. Just leave it alone. Let it go. It's useless. I think it causes more problems on the field than it's. These players are trying to win a game and compete. Not everything has to be for our home entertainment. Our entertainment alone would just be the play on the field. Let them do what they got to do.
Well said.
So stop with the in-game interviews. It's too much.
Yeah, that was a great point, actually. That last point is exactly what it's about. Not everything needs to be for to uh, for the viewer's benefit. Not everything. I mean, the benefit in itself is watching your team win or watching your team play on TV. So you don't need the whole in-game interviews and all that stuff. I really don't care. I genuinely don't care. And that leads me to my Aaron Hicks award, and it's exactly the same as Tats, Aaron Hicks, and Rob's L. It has to be the in-game interview. It was worse than ever, though, because it was cringier than ever, because Gunnar Henderson wasn't able to answer. First of all, the thing wasn't working. You couldn't hear it. But it's because he's in the infield, and it's action all the frickin' time, right? You have to be locked in all the time as shortstop. How did they not miss that? How did they not realize that? Like, it was so cringe. It felt like something from The Office. So, Gunnar, how you feeling in this spot? Long silence. I was like, oh, bro, this is brutal.
I wanted to hear like what the fuck you think I feel?
There was long silences, and you heard DJ having conversations with Jack Sullivan. He was my favorite. So where are you next to? Oh, where am I next? Cincinnati? All right, cool. I mean, that was funny as fuck. It was such a mess. That was the only thing that I actually heard from the in-game interview, because Gunnar wasn't speaking for whatever, because he was busy, captaining the infield. That is kind of busy. And then it's also very fucking loud in the infield, because you got the fans in the stands, and you got freaking players all around you. So yeah, it's kind of busy. The outfield, you might get away with it for a half inning. But Gunnar Henderson, that was really ridiculous, let alone when the guy got hurt. And he was just standing there like, so how are you feeling in this moment there, Gunnar? Like, bro, just leave me the fuck alone. It was just like, it was so painful. I was like, this is like something from like a comedy. This is like something from like The Office. It's like so painful. It was like a Michael Scott interview. You know what I'm saying? We got somebody that's decked like that. We got Michael Scott going, so how are you feeling in this moment? Oh my god, what the fuck? I honestly, how could they think that that's like good television? How could they even think that
It's not.
it was good? Gunnar Henderson wasn't able to answer any questions. If you want an in-game interview, you do it before the action starts. You just have them run just before they come out of the dugout. Give them 10 seconds just to say bish bash bosh, and then leave them to it. But I still don't think any of that makes any sense. You never had to do it before, so why do you feel you need to have it now? If that honestly makes fans more interested in baseball, hearing long silences and having the dude that's standing on second base converse as to where he's going next, if that's what really is helping viewership, then these people don't really want to watch baseball in the first place, because that was not good. It was painful, and I don't blame any of the players for that situation. It was purely the stupidity of Roku to like, oh yeah, we'll just give it to the fucking shortstop. I mean, come on. Like, painful. Just give it to the fucking catcher. Give it to the umpire. Honestly, let's make it worse. Honestly, it was cringeworthy. Aaron Hicks.
Well, I'm giving mine to the replay review people because they still can't get things right. First game, DJ LeMahieu is safe at the plate, and it goes to review, and they don't change it. So what exactly are they looking at up there?
Yep.
How is this now 3 series in a row that we've been talking about this?
And
where they can't get anything right. And it's always DJ LeMahieu. But, like, it happened in the Angels series because Tats made it his L or his Hicks award, one of the two, but it was deserving. And here again, it cost us a game potentially. So whatever they're doing in New York, watching these replays, they need to get all of their eyes checked. They got the 3 blind mice in there, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So this is what we get. Like, it's somehow worse than the NFL's replay review system, and that's pretty damn bad. But they always get it wrong. We have 150 camera angles nowadays, and you still can't get the call right.
That's what's great about it. It's the only replay booth in sports, in all of sports, that just decides just give it to go with the wrong call for no reason. If it's fair, it's foul. If he's safe, he's out. If he's out, he's safe. It's just like the baseball review guys are hilarious. It's almost like they're determined. They're just like, nah, fuck TV cameras. We don't need it. I'm just guessing now. Whatever the umpires gave it, we're just gonna go with. Even if it's the most clear as day. I don't know what it is. I think it's like an agenda. Maybe it's because they feel like their jobs are getting taken away from them, so they're just like, they're holding just firm and fast. Like, they're just like, fuck you guys, whether it's a right call or not. It's so hilarious. Because I was watching that, I was like, wait a minute. He's clearly safe. Like what are we doing?
What's the holdup? Yeah.
I couldn't understand that. I was like, well, I mean, he's 100% safe. There's not even a question about it. I would say the same if it wasn't even a Yankee. It was just like, I mean, it's not a difficult call, but then they had to make it difficult. And then they were like, no, call in the field stands. Well, oh my God. Fucking idiots.
That does sum up the awards. The one thing, we did leave him alone for a specific reason. And that was Weaver. It was good. I just want to say quick, it was good to see him back with the team so quick. Was this the point that where they were saying 4 to 6 weeks, and the fact that he was back within a month? Is that a credit to his healing? That he's just going to be that type of guy that heals a little quicker, or do you think they just brought him back prematurely?
No, because he looked fine yesterday.
Okay.
So he pitched yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, before Williams. So no, I think he did fine. His first game back in a while, he made one bad pitch, and I like even in his post game, he still finds a way to be a little like snarky. And they're like, "Where did you want that pitch to go?" He goes, "Well, balls his glove, preferably." But
that was hilarious.
He's a funny dude. I love Weaver. One bad outing, he's had like a 3 or maybe 3 or 4 rocky outings this year. Otherwise, he's been perfect. So he bounced back pretty quickly.
But just to correct you, he didn't pitch yesterday, bro. It was Tim Hill and Fernando Cruz.
It wasn't. I could have sworn I saw Weaver pitching yesterday. Maybe I was losing my mind.
Confused.
I could have sworn I saw Weaver out there, but hey, maybe I'm going crazy.
Yeah,
I did have a moose break into my house. So
exactly.
Maybe I'm losing.
Currently in your bathroom.
Yeah,
he might have been warming up in the pen just to kind of throw a little bit. That might have been, but I didn't remember seeing him. But
Rob, your brother's in for a shock when he goes into the bathroom this morning.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys remember that scene from Grown Ups 2 where the moose breaks into the house?
Well, because of the Yarbrough injury, they brought up Winans. And what's your take on what we should expect tonight from Winans? Rob, do you have an opinion?
About the moose or about Yarbrough?
No, the pitcher.
Oh no, I'm excited to see Winans finally, but I think eventually we're gonna see Stroman come back. So it might be like 1 start or 2 for Winans, and then Stroman's gonna be back. I'm gonna miss Yarbrough. I hope it's not too long because he's been phenomenal. He might have, like I said a few weeks ago, might have been the second best move that Cashman made outside of Fried. That's how good Yarbrough has been for us in a spot starting role or out of the bullpen. He's been outstanding.
Donald, what are your expectations tonight? Well, what are you hoping for?
I hope that Rob's landscapers are also good at building houses again after what happened to you yesterday, bro.
Oh, I got animal control coming. They're gonna take care of this moose problem of mine. And
Well, you can make him a pet, man. I mean, he's just there for the chicks and the hot weather.
yeah, he told me he migrated from Pittsburgh. He's sick of the weather.
Can't blame him, man. We all are. I don't give a fuck what happens today. We'll win. Be cool. Let's go.
Yeah, that's wildlife's a crazy thing. But we do hope everybody did enjoy today's show. We enjoyed all the laughter and all the humor and sarcasm and the craziness of a morning on the Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats with Rob and Donald. And just remember to hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends.
Zanier Pinstripe Chronicles than normal.
Huh?
Slightly zanier than normal.
Yeah. Just remember to hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. If you are watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, we appreciate all of you tuning in. If you're listening on SportsWire Radio, thanks for listening and tune in for more great content from the Reverend. So with that, just remember to always wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.
Watch out for moose.